They originally had the Covid-19 intel transferred from Ukraine over to Chapel Hill up to Fort Detrick to Wuhan. They tried to blame it on the Wuhan laboratory. No, it didn't. It emanated from the Democrats in Ukraine.
How is it they haven't taken you out? I mean, seriously, how is it you're walking around being able to say this stuff and you're still alive?
I'm Scott Bennett. I'm a former United States Army officer, psychological operations. I was at the 11th Psychological Operations Battalion. I was also at U.S. State Department counterterrorism operations under General Del Daly. I was at MacDill Air Force Base in the Counterterrorism Threat Financing Division. I was also in Joint Military Information Support Command in Crystal City in the Pentagon. Jumped into the counterterrorism fight and went down a rabbit hole and have never stopped.
Going back to January 6th, many people thought that China ran the election, stole the election.
Part of my presentation in my affidavit, sworn affidavit with others, was that the Chinese Communist Party from 2009 to 2020 entered into this agreement with the Union Bank of Switzerland to purchase Dominion Voting Machines, ES&S, and Premier through Staple Street Capital. They created a variety of financial organizations and instruments, and they gradually increased UBS Securities LLC from 25% to 51% and then eventually to 100%. So when I had intel agents from Hong Kong provide me with this, that's when I took it to Trump's people and said, UBS Securities and the Chinese Communist Party have purchased Dominion voting machines. They're going to algorithmically impregnate them. They're going to manipulate them. They're going to do it to Premier. They're going to do something.
The first column that shows that on 11/5/2020 at 7:43 and 38 seconds, we had a foreign intrusion, and it shows the IP address, the Internet Protocol address. The second column is the owner or source of that IP address. That shows that ChinaNet in Beijing province entered the election. Then in the final column, what you're seeing are votes changed. The votes that were changed was they stole 3,477 votes from Donald Trump. Now, as you go through this document and you look at all the multiple intrusions into our election, what you'll notice that over 60% of these intrusions come from China. What you're seeing are the actual files being received and sent. That's a documentation of the real-time theft of our elections.
Rosemont Seneca Marketing Database.
So now you're entering into the other aspect of Ukraine, the Chinese Communist Party, Hunter Biden, John Kerry's son, Christopher Hines, Paul Pelosi Jr., Nancy Pelosi's son, in this organization, Rosemont Seneca, that funded Metabiota, which was a Pentagon contractor that was developing the COVID-19 pathogen and vaccine. These were slides that were exposed when the Russian operation entered Ukraine and captured a lot of the biochemical labs that had been set up, which Victoria Nuland admitted to.
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of.
Now, Chapel Hill is where they originally had the COVID-19 intel transferred from Ukraine over to Chapel Hill up to Fort Detrick to Wuhan. They tried to blame it on the Wuhan laboratory. No, it didn't. It emanated from the Democrats in Ukraine. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and George Soros and the Democrat Party as being central to the Ukrainian COVID-19 pathogen development and the vaccine development.
So it's interesting, just a few months ago, if you said anything about there being U.S. biolabs in Ukraine, you were kicked off Facebook, you were censored. Now they're admitting that.
I was part of the documentary in 2020 that exposed it.
So this isn't just Democrat corruption. You're talking about Romney's a Republican, his
Mitch McConnell, John Thune, Joni Ernst.
Joni Ernst, really.
Appearing with, they're all pushing America's war in Ukraine because they're pushing for the American corruption in Ukraine because that corruption is fueling their own power and black money operations.
How is it they haven't taken you out? I mean, seriously, how is it you're walking around being able to say this stuff and you're still alive?
God says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise up against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn.
I can see how that takes the fear out, but how are you still alive? Because if I was running this, I wouldn't let you walk around talking to guys like me.
The angel of the Lord encampeth around those who fear him. He shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. And we are, for such a time as this, we have been brought in and born and trained to rise up and meet the evil. Meet Goliath head on.